How's everybody doing? My name is Shareef Khan. I'm owner and chef of Limitless Cuisine, and today I want to share with you my recipe for bread pudding. Now, this is a great way to utilize leftover bread from any of your holiday gatherings, any occasion you may be having. And in this particular take, we're going to be using brioche hamburger buns. Now, this can be done with any style of bread, and it's going to be terrific anyway, but this is just what I had on hand. So I'm going to walk you through everything and kind of take it from there. All right, so the first thing we're going to do to start off this recipe is we're going to take our bread and we're just going to cut it into small, manageable cubes. Next, we're going to bring up equal parts milk and equal parts heavy cream to a boil. So here's where we have a little bit of leftover time. What we're going to do is we're going to let this come up to a boil. We're going to add in some vanilla extract and we're going to let it sit for about 25 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to head over to the food processor and we're going to just process some of these bread cubes. So we're not going to add all of it in. This is just really going to be what our base layer is formed out of. So we want a nice smooth grind so that when it comes out, the top is really nice and even. So at this point, we're killing the heat, and we're just going to add in about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. What you want to do next is get started on your pan. Once the milk is done, you'll be ready to go right into the oven. So I like to just start off by buttering the base of my pan. It just kind of acts like glue for your initial breadcrumb, holding everything into place. And then you want to slowly just start to sprinkle in your breadcrumbs as you're rotating the pan. Kind of shake them, and you'll see they kind of start to form an even layer on the bottom because they're all sticking to that butter. All right, just apply a little bit of pressure, make sure those final breadcrumbs really do stick to the pan. If you'd rather not use your hands for the flattening process, you can use any flat surface like a cup, a mug, whatever it is you have on hand. So, something to keep in mind for COVID Christmas. So once you have that initial layer established with your breadcrumbs, you can start to add in your larger bread cubes. Just stuck on my head now. But we're going with it. A nice flat layer. Once again, pressing down with either that cup or your hands. Once you have that all ready to go and we're still waiting on the milk, it's a good time to start on your eggs. So this is gonna be 2 whole eggs, 2 egg yolks. You're just gonna add that into a large bowl. From there, you wanna fold in your sugar. This is about 88 grams. That's about a cup worth of sugar, right about. And you're just gonna start whisking the eggs and the sugar together up until they're kind of one even homogeneous mixture. But at this point, it's just, like I said, waiting until we get like a nice, smooth, watery texture. All right, so once that's steeped for about 20 minutes, you're just gonna lift the lid off. You're gonna insert your fine mesh sieve, and you're just gonna slowly start to pour into your egg mixture a little bit at a time, is we want to prevent the eggs from cooking through the heat of the milk. Reason being is if the eggs start to cook, they'll start to coagulate and curdle, and the curdles won't dissipate during the cooking process, leaving you with chunks of firm egg in your otherwise supposed to be smooth custard. You want this nice glossy liquid. You can see how smooth it is, right? There's no like defined chunks, no skin to it. It's just very smooth and glossy. Very slowly pour your egg mixture over. Just kind of rotate as you go. Soak your bread evenly. I like to sprinkle with just a bit of salt. You just want to give it a couple of rotates while you tamp it down. Right before you decide to put it in the oven, you're just going to start adding little knobs of butter. That'll just add a nice buttery taste to the bread pudding itself, as well as ensure that the top, as it cooks, browns nice and evenly. Then we want to cover it with tin foil. All right, so once you've got your custard all tinned up, you're gonna insert it into a roasting pan, which just has enough water in it to basically halfway cover the tin, just maybe a little extra. And then all at once, it's gonna go into the oven. All right, so once you're in your oven, you're gonna let it sit there for anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on how strong your oven is. And then you're gonna remove the foil from it and just let that top brown a bit more. So probably another additional 10 to 15 minutes. Altogether, you're looking at about an hour to an hour and 15 cooking time. So as we wait for that bread pudding to finish baking off, we're just gonna get started on the next step, which is gonna be our maraschino cherry glaze. Now there's a lot of different variations you can go with this. I'm gonna show you the basic recipe, and then you can kind of add things as you please. You're gonna add in just a bit of water, and then you're gonna add in your maraschino cherries with a little bit of that leftover juice from the jar. So once you've got that all in there, it shouldn't take too long for that to come up to a boil. Once that does, we're gonna move right over to our food processor. Right into our food processor. Okay. Now this is some cornstarch and table sugar. As the cornstarch heats up as a result of the boiling liquid, you'll see that it starts to thicken everything as well. I'm gonna drop the flame a bit. So extremely hot, be extremely careful. And just pour that back in. You're just gonna kind of let that simmer for 5 minutes. You're gonna wanna agitate it and mix it a bit here and there. But really what we're looking for is the cornstarch starts thickening that up. Once you're done there, you're just gonna kind of transfer it into a nice cool bowl. Just kind of stir it. And then right there, top bowl gets plunged. Can't really over chill it. So once you've taken your bread pudding out of the oven, you've let it cool for about 15 minutes before touching it. All you want to do is take a butter knife and start to release the sides. Just tamp it a bit. This will help release anything that's stuck to the bottom to come up. Okay? And now what you're going to do is you're going to place your cutting board on top. Right? And we're ready. 1, 2, 3. Set that back down. And to really ensure that everything is released from the bottom, I'm just gonna go around a bit. Alright, so once you get it released onto your cutting board, you're gonna take your plate over top, and you're just gonna repeat the process, but flipping off onto your plate now. Cool, so once you get your bread pudding released onto your board and onto your plate, you're gonna want to start topping with whatever you really want. If you have the cherry glaze done, that's gonna be where I start. A lot of people tend to enjoy it with something like ice cream. Vanilla is always a great choice. Really just depends on what you're feeling for that day. Alright, so that is my take on bread pudding. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys try it out. It's great for any occasion and really just a great way to utilize any leftover bread you may have from the holidays. Enjoy.